And we're on.
This is All About Wine, the talk show dedicated to the wine industry since 2009. Featuring winemaker, cellar master, vineyardist, and tasting expert, Ron.
Basically, what we're trying to do on this program is just trying to educate people and trying to make wine less confusing and more friendly.
From coast to coast and around the world.
You know, we really have had some neat people on the program. I love that.
Post your questions and comments during the live show on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/allaboutwinebtr. Again, that's www.facebook.com/allaboutwinebtr. And now, All About Wine is on. Here's Ron.
Okay, thank you, bus people. Well, bus people are cold tonight. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All bundled up and careful of the wine. A little sheet of ice on top of it if they're outside. Yeah, we got some. Well, I say cold. We're talking about how cold it is here, but minus degrees and throughout the mid part of the country, and it's cold out there. Another polar vortex. I read something I thought was interesting. They said this is the 10th polar vortex coming down this year, this season. Wow. And we normally only have 2 or 3. And scientists are looking into it and trying to find out why we're having so many of them this year and why they're dipping so far south, too, because there's snow on South Virginia, northern North Dakota. There's snow on the beaches there, and that seldom happens. And there's like 10 inches of snow on the beaches. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's just cold out there, and snow all over and all that. So, I mentioned I'm from Kansas City a little bit earlier that it was 2 degrees there.
They can have it.
Yeah, really. I mean, this is nasty cold right now, and it's in the upper 50s, right? Around there for me. And I bundled up with everything I can think of when I step outside. But
absolutely, layers.
Yes, very many layers. It looks like those little boys on A Christmas Story. Remember the?
Yes, all bundled up.
Yeah, look like it.
I got a quick update about our YouTube feed that I just made happen here. We were talking before the show that the show's kind of hard to find now since we dropped off of, or actually Blog Talk Radio. We didn't, but Blog Talk Radio dropped off the map, and which was easy to find because you could go to blogtalkradio.com/allaboutwine. Our website is allaboutwinebtr.com. BTR standing for Blog Talk Radio, where we were for since 2009. Well, now officially, you can go to youtube.com/@allaboutwinebtr. It's something that they require, but everything else I tried was taken. And then I tried at the last second here. Right when the intro was going, I said, let me try if I have to put BTR in there. And sure enough, it went across and it accepted it. So if you go to youtube.com/the @sign, that's how they signify their pages, All About Wine BTR, and try that. You'll get to our show page on YouTube instead of capital A, lowercase j, the number 2.
Search engine.
Yes,
yeah,
you'll find it, and that's where the show page is.
Okay, so, slowly again. I'm going to write this down so anyone can hear this.
Yes. Yep. YouTube.com. That's everybody knows that one. / the @sign, which is shift 2. Okay, so the / All About Wine BTR.
Okay. No spaces or anything on that, people. Just all
No,
straight across.
it's all one word. Yep, it's everything one, no spaces. If you do that,
That'll
you'll see
take
the little logo. Hmm?
that takes us to the archives and everything. Then.
Yeah, if you go to well, it may be different on, I don't know what the main screen shows, but if you go to live, there's a tab on there that says home videos, live, and post. If you go to the live tab, you'll see 175 past episodes. So,
Wow.
um, and they are, and little icons. It's pretty cool because, we were doing a slideshow then with different wineries and stuff during the show, and you could see some of the wineries and things like Castello de Borghese, and who else do we have? Bigfoot, I think there's a slide in there with them, but you can see all the different wineries on the different videos, and then this latest incarnation changed. But 175 episodes are up there now, and I think that's about the time we started going on to YouTube.
Is. Yeah, I don't.
It was 2021 was the first one there. So
yeah, we can't.
They are there.
All right.
So I don't know. We'll try it. And subscribe to the channel. That would be cool. We have 8 subscribers now. There's 166 videos. There's 166 videos. Subscribe to the channel. It'll keep you up to date when the show's coming on, all that good stuff. And you'll stay in the know. Yeah.
Then we won't flood you with crap or anything. I mean,
no.
I don't think Blog Talk or YouTube will do that either. It's just
no.
And we like to see the numbers jump up for no other reason than we like to see those numbers. Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Mike. Cool. That was good.
Well, the other choices were the other choices were stupid. It was like, All About Wine 4068 something, and I go, nope, that ain't gonna work. And so I refresh it, and it says, well, All About Wine. And I was thinking, okay, you got the All About Wine part. The rest of it didn't make sense. And so I tried different things. I tried All About Wine itself. And BTR stuck, and I got the little check box green, and I go, all right, I'm taking it.
Yeah, why not? Even though Blog Talk Radio is all done.
Yeah. Well, it's still tied to the website for now, so we'll see. Anyway, you were going to say something here. So
no, I just is going to say that we are still trying to figure this all out here, what we're doing, and when the shows are available and where they're available and all that. It's driving both of us crazy. So Restream, we feel is pretty good for a lot of the stuff we need, but for some reason it's not throwing them out there. I've had people tell me that whenever they try to tune in, the latest show that they've got was one back in December, and so for some reason last couple months have not been picked up by Restream. So you can go to YouTube though and pick them up, but we're still working on that. So anyone have any suggestions, by all means, let us know. We are still open for something. We have a couple of requirements. One, we're not going to spend $100, $150 a month to get this stuff out there. And 2, we need to have guests have the capability of calling in or connecting with us during the show, which seems to be limited on some of these platforms, that they won't let you do that. So if you hear of a good channel or something, then we are more than open to check it out and see what we can do with it, and if it will work for us. So but there we go. I'm actually scared to get a guest. We've got guests standing by. I've got a couple of emails that just came in for new guests and stuff like that. But I'm a little leery right now of getting guests. We can probably book ourselves up for the next couple of 3 months at least with guests that we've had to drop because of Blog Talk Radio's issues and stuff. So we're working on that stuff. And I've been doing taxes and also volunteering at the golf course like I do. So taxes 3 days a week, and golf course 2 days, although one of those 2 days is the same day that I do taxes. It's golf course afternoon and taxes morning. So I'm tied up 4 days a week on stuff, and then try to get golf in one of the other days, and at least. And so then I sit down in front of the computer trying to catch up on guests and see who you can schedule and all that. And I'm afraid to get them because I'm not sure how Restream's going to work. So just let you know on that stuff. I'm going on. We got some stuff to talk about tonight. We got a few things, news to pass on to you or anything. I don't think there's anything new and exciting out there in the world we need to mention. Is there? Can you think of anything?
Oh, there's a lot of exciting things going on in the world.
New and exciting things. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
We can spend the hour just talking about new and exciting things in the world.
Talking about new and exciting things.
Yeah. But we've already heard some of that.
Yeah.
So
did you hear on Facebook? I've been getting these wine ads, and I don't know how they connect me with the wine industry on Facebook. But
really?
It's and I yeah, I don't know, but I've saved a couple ads because all of a sudden I'm getting bombarded with ads for there's a place in St. Petersburg, I think it is, a winery, or maybe they're just selling the wine there. It's banana wine, and I can't remember what the hell it's called. It's Florida Groves or Florida something.
Oh yeah. It's in South St. Pete. What's the name of it? Yes.
I'm looking for the ad because
and stuff like that.
Yep. I'm looking for the ad because I did a screen capture. I was like, that sounds interesting, but it's like banana wine.
They have some unique wines down there. They really do a good job of it too. Some of them are sweet, some of them are not as, but they do a whole bunch of different flavors, if you will, in wines. And they're a tourist place. I mean, they're located in a touristy area, but I've visited them before, and nice people. They are friendly. Usually the owners are out in the store talking to people much as they can. So if you've had questions about stuff, they're more than happy to talk to you about it. But they've been there for a long time. What is the name of it? Florida Orange Grove?
That sounds familiar. That's what I'm trying to. I don't know why I don't remember the orange part, but all I keep seeing is, you got to try our banana wine. I go, banana. So, and I don't know, the process for fruit. Grapes are fruit. So right. So a banana's a fruit, but a banana is not
a juicy fruit. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are you doing? Just, I don't mashing it or what the process is. We need to get them on the show, and we'll test.
There you go. See if
because we're on the same
field or secret. Yes,
we're on the same coast, so maybe it'll be easier to, hey, you want to test Restream with us and see how it is?
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Oh no, you're live on the show right now.
It's not they'll say Restream. I don't use that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I can. I keep seeing ads for that. There's all kinds of ads. There's alcohol-free wine, and I know we've talked about it before. There, does it taste like grapes? Like grape juice or something. And there's and I've seen comments like, "Oh, you can't even tell." It's like, really? I'm just startled by that part, but it's just. I don't know, but anyway, I thought I'd bring that up because I was like, I just couldn't imagine banana wine. I didn't know if you'd heard about it yet. That's on your side of your side of the country of Florida, so or whatever they call it.
That's amazing that you're getting those ads too.
Everything. It used to be just every once in a while I get Rombauer or one of the ones we've talked about,
right?
And
I get
now
those.
I can scroll just to. Because Facebook is nothing but ads now, and I can scroll and within a few posts or something, there's a thing for wine. And I was like, wow, all of a sudden.
Yeah, I get that too, but I can understand why I do because I'm always clicking on stuff. I'm always looking
Well,
at stuff
sure.
on Facebook, and
Yeah.
once you click on something, wham, you're
Oh,
going to
you're
get
done.
generated
Yeah.
with
Yep.
everything.
And if you talk about it, you're going to be inundated. Your phone is constantly listening to you.
Yes, it is. It is.
So, gotta be careful now.
For the walls.
Oh, the other thing is this portable beer brew called Pinter, I think it is. That ad is like every other day. It's on here, and it's like several of them.
Huh.
And you can brew beer, and it's just all this kind of stuff in your own home. It's like a mini keg. And someone even commented and said, "This is basically a Keurig. You put a little flavor cup in there, and it spits out the beer." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, I got you." So it's stuff like that. But
I never.
Mm.
I was going to say I never seen one of those, but I think I've
Mm.
seen something about beer.
Yeah,
And it might have been that one. It's I just scrolled past it because
I just went and looked for the show on Facebook, and there's Pinter. It's a beer thing. So yeah, it's definitely on there. So anyway, okay, there's another interruption there. Let me step back. I'll step back in the back of the studio right now.
Yeah,
let you do it.
That's all right. I asked. I asked if
To make
there's
it through
anything.
it. Yeah, I'm just. Yeah.
Oh.
Well. Okay.
All right. So let's see what I can. Oh, why don't we do a few definitions before you leave? You can tell me where I left off.
Yes, you were said next week is this week would be blending.
Okay, there we are. I found it.
Yep.
So we are ready for blending. Let's do some more glossary. We need a little intro to a glossary here. What's a good intro for a glossary for definitions? I don't know. A little drum roll or something. But this week, blending. These wines are blended for many reasons: to make a more harmonious or complex wine. Wines with complementary attributes may be blended. For example, a wine with low acidity may be blended with a high acid wine, or a wine with earthy flavors may be blended with a fruity wine. To create a uniform wine from many small batches is another goal. Since grapes from different vineyards, stages of the harvest, and pressings are frequently vinified separately and the small batches differ slightly. Red Bordeaux offers a prime example. 5 different grapes may be used, each contributing its own nuances to the blend. Blended wines are, that's the definition. This isn't. Blended wines are becoming really popular now. You're finding a lot of blends out there. It used to be, it was hard to find wines that were blended. You would go out and you'd find Cabernets, Merlots, and all this. Now you're seeing blends, red blends and white blends and stuff. More red blends than whites, it seems. But blended red wines are very, very popular now for some reason. Within the last 2-3 years, you go down the shelf and you start looking, you have a big section of blended wines, which is a good thing because the winemakers are getting what they want. They're striving to get a taste that they're looking for, and you can do it with blends. Most of the time, some of your more inexpensive wines that you try, that you say, oh, this is consistent year after year, I can always count on this. Those a lot of times are blends because they will strive for the same flavor profile over and over again because they know it works, they know it sells, and it's what they strive for. I think, and I don't know, and don't quote me on this, but Kendall Jackson Chardonnay, the biggest selling Chardonnay in the country, if not the world. It's an enormously popular wine. People get it year after year, and it's pretty much consistent. And I think they do some blending on that. I don't know, and don't quote me, But I think Kendall Jackson does blend that to get that flavor profile coming up each year. I personally don't like the Kendall Jackson Chardonnay. I think it's too acidic. If you compare it to some other Chardonnays, the Kendall Jackson Chardonnay to me is just too much acid in it to give me a good Chardonnay profile. But my wife loves it. I talked to a lot of people who love the Kendall Jackson. It must be very popular. It's one of the biggest selling. It is the biggest selling Chardonnay in the States. So they're doing something right. But I think it is a blend. I'm not sure. I haven't had them tell me that. I haven't read anything about it. But to be so consistent year after year, it's almost impossible to not be. Okay, blind tasting. This is the act of tasting without knowing certain information about the wine. There are two main types of blind tasting. One, single blind, and second, double blind. Single blind is how editors at Wine Spectator conduct their official reviews by blinding the producer and price of the wine. Also, the regions and varietals and vintage. Oh, wait a minute. No, they're saying the regions, varietal, and vintage are known, okay, in Wine Spectator, in order to ensure full objectivity. That you blind out the producer and the price. Double blind indicates that none of the wine characteristics are known. So that's when they block out the region, the varietal, vintage, and everything else. That's a double blind. Single blind is just the producer and the price. I thought Wine Spectator did a double blind on their. That surprised me on that. So, when you do wine parties, do a double blind, block out everything, let the people try it. Don't just block out the producer and the price. It's not enough. Block out the varietal, vintage, region, and everything. It's more fun that way, I think. Next one, blunt. It's defined as strong in flavor and often alcoholic, but lacking in aromatic interest and development on the palate. So blunt is a good. I never use that. I've heard it mentioned a couple times, but it's just really an undeveloped wine. Next one, blush, also known as a rosé. This term describes a pink or salmon-colored wine made from red grapes. The wine may be dry or sweet, depends on what style. Next one, bodega. This is the Spanish term for estate. Next, body. The impression of weight, fullness, or thickness on the palate. Usually the result of a combination of alcohol, sugar, dissolved solids, including sugars, phenolics, minerals, and acids, and to a lesser extent, glycerins. Okay, so body, the weight of the wine on the palate, of fullness and thickness. You can tell when you drink a red wine tends to have more weight than a white. Sweet wines tend to carry more weight than a dry wine. You can feel, once it gets in your mouth, you can feel the sensation of the fullness in the mouth from the wine. Or the sweet wines, very sweet wines, will have a thickness to it also. So these are things that attribute to what we call weight. And again, alcohol, sugar, dissolved solids, these are all contributed to weight. Continue. Common descriptors include light-bodied, medium-bodied, and full-bodied. For example, skim milk could be considered light-bodied, while whole milk, medium-bodied, and cream as full-bodied. Good example. Although a fuller-bodied wine makes a bigger impression in the mouth, it is not necessarily higher in quality than a lighter bodied wine. Very important there. Just because you have a full bodied wine that really, you go, whoa, that really is heavy, full bodied wine. It doesn't mean it's a better wine. It, wines that have been aged and all that can get away from that sensation of a full bodied wine in the mouth and still be an excellent wine. Next one, Botrytis cinerea. Botrytis, Botrytis cinerea, Cinerea. Also known as noble rot. It is a beneficial mold that grows on ripe wine grapes in the vineyard under specific climatic conditions. The mold dehydrates the grapes, leaving them shriveled and raisin-like, and concentrates the sugars and flavors. It sucks the moisture out, is what it does. Botrytis cinerea sucks the moisture out of the grapes and does not suck out the sugars. So therefore, you have a raisin-looking grape that has no moisture, but all the sugars are still there. Okay, shriveled and raisin. Wines made from these berries have a rich, complex, honeyed character and are often high in residual sugar. Botrytis contributes, in fact, it's usually shortened to botrytis too, by the way. It's Botrytis cinerea is the full name, but it's usually shortened to just botrytis. Contributes the unique concentrated flavor in such wines as BA and TBA Rieslings. That's Baron Auslese BA and TBA Trockenbaron Auslese. That's what they mean by those. Rieslings from Germany, Sauternes from Bordeaux, Azuz from Hungary. Azuz from Hungary's Tokaj district, and an assortment of late harvest wines from other regions of the world. So it's a mold that gets on the grapes and sucks the moisture out. Sometimes it's not good. If you can have a vineyard that's affected by botrytis, that is not something that the wine grower, the grape grower, is looking for, and it could be a bad thing. So you got to pick the grapes at the right time on that, though. You got to be sure that you're out there picking them at the time you want to get the sugar levels up on it. Next one, bottle aging. A period of time spent in a bottle prior to release and or consumption. A small percentage of wines gain complexity and bouquet during extended bottle aging. The vast majority of wines produced are meant to be consumed shortly after release. Important factor there. Not a lot of wines will age in the bottle. Majority of them are made to be drank. So don't just go out and buy a bottle of wine saying, I'm going to age this. They're made to be drank, so drink them. Wines that are aged are made to be aged. Ask the winery if you should age the wines that you're getting, or don't buy them in a grocery store and expect to age them. They're going to be ones that you need to drink. If you buy wines from a wine store or someplace that knows about wine, then they could guide you to if they are ageable or not, if you're going to age wines. And age them under good condition. Don't just throw them in a wine rack above the fireplace or something like that. That is not aging wine properly. Be sure you know what you're going to do when you're going to age them, because you can destroy it if you're not careful. So bottle aging. Next one, bottle shapes. This is always fun, bottle shape. Although a standard wine bottle holds 750 milliliter or 25.4 ounces, wine bottles vary in shape. depending on regional, cultural, and marketing considerations. The basic shapes identify wine by type in most of the world. Bordeaux-style wines, red wines made of blends relying on Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, and/or Cabernet Franc. White wines made of Sauvignon Blanc or Semillon are put in Bordeaux-style bottles with straight sides and high shoulders. Burgundy's traditional varieties, Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, go into slope-shouldered Burgundy-style bottles. Aromatic wines such as Riesling and Gewürztraminer usually go into tall, narrow German-style bottles and excuse me, and sparkling wines go into thick, heavy champagne bottles with deep punts, are the bottom hole, designed to withstand the gas pressure inside. So, bottle shapes actually can help you identify wines, where they come from, and what regions, and all that. More so in Europe, France, different areas, than in the United States. New World wines really aren't noted for their identifying bottle shapes. Bottle shock, besides the fact that this was the name of a movie about wine. Bottle shock, a temporary condition that characterized by muted or disjointed flavors. It often occurs immediately after bottling or when wines, usually fragile, older wines, are shaken in travel. A few days of rest is the cure. A wine will go in shock as you're bottling it too. As you know, you walk into a winery, I just bottled this. You go, yeah, okay, that's great and that's wonderful, but there's always that possibility of bottle shock, which just it subdues the flavors. You want that wine to open up enough and go through the bottle. Bottle sickness, a temporary condition characterized by muted or disjointed flavors. It often occurs immediately after bottling or when wines, usually fragile older wines, are shaken in travel. A few days of rest is the cure. Exact same definition as bottle shock. Bottle sickness, bottle shock, same thing. Bottled by means the wine could have been purchased ready-made and simply bottled by the brand owner, or made under contract by another winery. When the label reads produced and bottled by or made and bottled by, it means the winery produced the wine from start to finish. Important points there on that. Okay, bottled by. A lot of wines are sold as from great big wineries. Great big wineries are sold bottled in what they call shiners. No labels, no anything on it. The wine is complete. It's in the bottle. And say you are a little small winery and you want to sell a Cabernet Sauvignon, you can get a hold of these great big wineries and say, I would like 100 cases of Cabernet Sauvignon shiners. They will then bottle 100 cases. You will pay for that. Then when you get it, you slap your own label on it. You just, on the label, as long as it says bottled by, then you're fine. Produced and bottled by, or any of that other stuff, means that you got to do it from beginning to end. So it's done a lot more than what people realize. If you start reading labels, you'll start seeing more and more where it's not produced and bottled by. Produced and bottled by, or made and bottled by, is simply everything at the winery. Otherwise, they could have bought the grapes. They could have bought the finished wine and all that stuff. So start looking at your wine bottles. It's fun to notice how many are not made exclusively by the wineries. Bottling. Putting wine into a bottle is an automated process. The bottle is washed, dried, and then filled with wine. Before the cork is inserted, a puff of inert gas displaces any oxygen remaining in the bottle to prevent spoilage. Uh, When you go through automatic bottling lines, then that is true. Sometimes you don't, or smaller wineries might not have the machines to do it. There's great big bottling machines that take the wine. You take your case of bottles, you set it into the beginning of the machine, a little conveyor. Excuse me, I'm coughing a lot tonight. You set your wine into a little conveyor, or the bottles rather, into a conveyor. It takes it down. It turns the bottle upside down. It sprays a little bit of water into it, washes it out, turns the right side up again. It goes on down to the bottling line. The machine fills up the bottle to the designated level. It goes to the next one. It gets a little squirt of inert gases, usually nitrogen, a little squirt of nitrogen on the top, which clears out the oxygen. Nitrogen is an inert. It doesn't affect the wine one way or the other. Oxygen can. Then you pop the cork on it, and some of the machines will then put a capsule on it and spin the wine, heat the capsule so it's on. It puts the labels on, spins the bottle around, puts the labels on, and spits it out the other end. And you stand at the other end and take it and throw it in cases, tape it up, and stack it up on the pallet. It does everything for you. Those machines can run you anywhere from, well, it depends on how big you want one, what all you want it to do, but anywhere from $1 million to $4 million. They are expensive, but if you've got a big winery and big operation, it is an unbelievable time saver. So that is part of the bottling line there. That's something that big operations will do. If you're a small operation, you usually don't have one of those machines because obviously can't afford a $4 million machine or a space to put it in. A lot of them are done in a smaller operation where you can take the bottle, put the label on it, feed it into, put it on spigots and have them gravity filled up to the proper level, slide it on down, pop the cork into it, and put it onto the next step, pop the capsules on it and heat the capsules. There's a little machine that is hot at the top, and you pull the lever down and it heats the capsules and seals it around it. These PVC capsules, I keep saying heat the capsules. These PVC capsules that you have on your wine bottles are they shrink around the bottle when you heat them, so they shrink around the top of it. So it's just a matter of putting it into the wine and heating it and then taking it out. And once you get the capsules on there, you throw it in a case, tape it up, and put it on the pallet and put it in the storage room. Eden Vineyards down in South Florida, they have since closed down. They closed down a few years ago, but my first introduction of being right in the middle of a bottling line was down through Eden Vineyard, and it was interesting. We would start at 7 o'clock in the morning and work until 7 o'clock at night bottling wines, because once they were ready, and they didn't care if you were ready or not. You had to get those things in bottles. So we would work tirelessly for a week, bottling everything that we need to get bottled and labeled and all that. And we worked for about 3 or 4 days before, getting everything cleaned up and as sterile as we could. And then again, 3 or 4 days afterwards, cleaning everything again and getting everything fixed up and all. So it's that's a small operation. You get bigger operations, you're constantly cleaning. The big thing everyone worries about is getting any contaminants into the wine or something. So it's a pretty clean atmosphere that you're working on when you're doing bottling. Want to get that wine into the bottles without being exposed to too much air and stuff like that. So you pump right directly from the tank into a tank that's over the bottles that you're bottling. If you're doing a great big one like those $1 million bottling units, it fills them up so fast that it's a constant pump from the tank into that. But the smaller operations, it's a little bit slower, but it's fun. It's interesting. When you go to a winery, sometimes you can ask them to show you their bottling operation. They will be more than happy to. Wineries are very accommodating when it comes to that stuff. So when you're out at the winery and you're looking at stuff, then ask them if they would, if it would be possible to see their bottling operation, see how they're doing it, and get an idea of this. Okay, we're done with the definitions. Gee, I spent longer than I should. I commented on a lot of them. Next week, bouquet. We start with that, and we'll go from there. So, yeah, bouquet is our next one next week. So, Mike, you make a note of that.
Already did.
Okay.
Yeah, got it.
Good. A few more things here before we end. We talked about a lot of other stuff at the beginning, and time went by fast. This is out of the San Francisco Chronicle I saw, and I thought it was interesting. It says wine country totals are down since 2022 tastings. They're seeking visitors, and the wine industry is slowing down in California. I'm reading too many articles about how it is slowing down. Dry January did not help it any, and it has been slow for quite some time. But this article is about cost for tastings. Okay. Tasting costs are outrageous, I think, in Napa and Sonoma. But this article starts out when Christy Coors Fuseli purchased Napa Valley's Goose Cross cellars in 2013. Tastings were only $20. That fee has since risen to $50, and Goose Cross isn't an anomaly. U.S. wine tasting fees have jumped nearly 350% since 2012, according to industry reports. And that, well, it's outrageous. Excuse me. You can almost see why, though, because these wineries are pouring some of their decent wines. Their wines are, $30, $40, $50 a bottle, and they can't sit there and pour you a whole bunch of tastings for $50 bottle of wines and not charge you. And I think I've told this story before too. The wineries in Napa and Sonoma and, well, even Livermore, not so much Livermore because at the time there wasn't as many wineries there, but Napa and Sonoma, people would get into party buses or 10 people limos and stuff like that and pay the limo or the party buses or something, X amount of dollars for the day, go up to Napa. They would have their designated driver and the driver of the limo. They would go to wineries and just stop at as many wineries as they possibly could. Get drunk for basically free back in the day when the tastings were free. And it only cost them a share of the limo ride. And they would go home and have themselves a great day of wine tasting with just the cost of the limo ride. They wouldn't buy much. And that was the problem. They would go into the wineries, at the wineries, and have 2 or 3 limos sitting out in front of a winery with all these people piling in there doing tastings and saying thank you and walking out the door without so much as purchasing a corkscrew. So the winery said, we can't afford this. This is getting out of hand. So they started to charge. And they started to charge a nominal fee to cover the cost of the wine. Well, as the wine cost went up, so did the nominal fee. And then they started to divide it up into flights. You can go a flight of red wines, a flight of white wines, or a flight of sweet and a flight of dry. And they divided up into different types. Some wineries are outrageously priced for a tasting. You can go in, you can spend as much as $75 to $80 for a tasting. I saw a price for one of $100 for a tasting. I'm going, whoa, that is just outrageous. But the wineries' wines were very expensive, and you would be able to get that money back if you purchased a couple of bottles or something. I mean, sometimes it's if you purchase one bottle, then you would not have to pay for your tastings and stuff like that. That's how they worked it. But it is getting to the point now where they can't do that anymore. This paragraph, let me read it. Tastings were a way to introduce someone to the product, but for some tasting rooms, it also became a way to make money. The average winery tasting fee in the country was $8.50, according to a 2024 report. This was again back in 2012. By 2023, the average cost had increased to $38. And in Napa and Sonoma County, it was $75 and $45 respectively. Average Napa, $75. So to get an average, you have to have higher ones. Not everybody was setting at $75. You had to get higher costs to average that out to 75. It was just ridiculous. And I've done tastings. I know what it's like. It's good stories and bad stories on tastings. It's ridiculous. But they find that the idea of free tastings rather romantic, but admitted that butts in seats was the primary motivation. Almost everyone who books the free offerings ends up upgrading their tastings or buying bottles, and that's what they want. This particular winery, what is it? I don't know. Comes in and tries three wines, and they're going to stick around for 6, and it happens, and then they buy wine. That's really what it's all about. They say a seated tasting is a wonderful way to learn about wine, but it's also a pretty big investment of your time. And they're offering that now too. You can do a seated tastings where you have someone come out, spend some time with you. You have cheeses and stuff. They tell you about the wines, and they only have 3 or 4 spots in a day for these seated tastings. Here's Kashi Coletti, who's the founder of Napa's Ashes and Diamonds winery, had a similar idea when he launched the A&D teaser for $45, the A&D Ashes and Diamond, for $45, which is a flight of 3 wines available at the beginning and end of each day. The winery standard tasting, a flight of 4 wines, is $60. 4 wines, $60 for a tasting. And breaking down to $15 for a 1-ounce pour. Says it's attracting a younger demographic that's curious. It's also a demographic that the wine industry is struggling to recruit, the younger ones. It allows them to dip their toes and learn briefly about the wines and then maybe visit a few other wineries. There's another winery, Honig Vineyard and Winery, offers 3 wines, 30 minutes, $30. anytime. It's and you think about it, that's quite a bit of money. I mean, $30. Most the average person will spend, you know, maybe $20 for a bottle of wine, and that's a little high. I think there it's a little less than that. And when you go out to Napa, it's an experience. Sure, it's something unique, and everybody should go to Napa at least once in their life. It's like the Disney World of wine. But along that same line is the Disney World of wine. When you go to Disney, you're going to expect to spend, what, $10 for a hamburger if you stop at one of those shops, and a plastic hat that says, or plastic ears that say Mickey Mouse on them is going to cost you way more than they should, because it's Disneyland or Disney World. And same thing with Napa. $30 for 3 wine tastings. It's just, you do it because it's Napa, and you're not going to do it again. And again, sometimes they give you credit for that if you buy a bottle. I grew up in a time when they didn't do that. I was in Napa and that area during the late 70s, and I had the opportunity not to have to pay that price. I met a lot of winemakers. You'd go in, you could taste wines and stuff, but it was abused, and that's why they changed it. So I can understand, but still, though, it's sad to see that happen. But wine prices are coming down. The tasting prices are coming down, and supply and demand. There's no demand for it anymore. Wine or all alcohol is losing ground to other types of beverages, and because of that, Napa says, wait a minute, we got to do something. And one of the things that they do is lower the price of their tastings. And it will work. I guarantee you it will work, but it's going to take some time for them to do it. And let's hope that they start picking up business because of it. Okay, what I saw something else. Where is it? Mike mentioned this. Low alcohol wines or no alcohol wines. This is a long article. This sad thing is, this always 750 Daily always has long articles. Dealcoholized wine has been around for some time. The first patents were done back in the early 20th century, but the recent moderation trend has driven rapid growth for the no and low alcohol wine market. According to this consumer research firm IWSR, the percentage of American drinkers who consume non-alcoholic beverages more than doubled last year, rising from 6 to 13%. And this growth has been largely driven by millennials and Gen Z, who now make up 45 and 17% of the categories, respectively. Millennials, 45% no and low alcohol wines. It's odd. It makes you wonder. So it's a trend. Like I say, this is a long article. They always write long articles, and they go into a lot of detail. But the low no alcohol trend is really catching on, and wineries are all trying to come out with something that is low no alcohol. Low alcohol usually is 2-3%. Some places call it low alcohol if it's as high as 9%. To me, that's a standard wine. You can find white wines that are 9% alcohol all over the place. So that's not low alcohol. The thing of low or no alcohol is the taste. Now, like Mike mentioned at the beginning of the show, they're saying that it tastes just the same as wine. I'm always of the opinion that when you try something by itself, you can say, "Oh, this isn't bad at all." But when you start comparing it to others, then that's when you really get your taste. So buy yourself a bottle of no alcohol wine, buy yourself a bottle of your favorite everyday wine that you always drink. Open up both of them and try them both at the same time. Then, if you say, "Oh, these are both great. I love them," you can say that the no alcohol is great and you can't tell the difference. But if you try the two and you go, "Ooh," you really notice the difference between the two, that's the test. I'm a firm believer that you got to try them together. And that goes with everything. I mean, how can you try one thing and say, "Oh, this is great, this is wonderful," if you don't have anything to compare it with? So you have to have that comparison. But the no alcohol, low alcohol is getting competitive. Wineries all around the world literally are coming out with low, no alcohol wines. They are de-alcoholizing the wines, a technique that's been around for a number of years now. It's uh, to use it and get it. Uh, they're talking about the Bordeaux. Here we go. De-alcoholization says that definitely presents an opportunity for growers in Bordeaux. The Bordeaux family and the head of marketing communication at Bordeaux Families states, "We can't just keep making Bordeaux red if there's no demand. De-alcoholization is a great way to diversify by tapping into the growing market." So, and there is no demand. Red. It's I'm seeing lots of articles about the demand, and this isn't particularly about no alcohol, low alcohol, but I'm seeing a lot of articles about how wine is not selling as well, not just in Napa or Bordeaux, but around the world. Wine has really fallen down in sales. This is why Napa has dug out thousands and thousands of acres of grapes, trying to create a demand for what they have. And other places have done that too, have cut back on grapes. If they have to leave them on the vine and let them drop to the ground, let the birds eat them, then there's no market. Excuse me. And so it's they're looking at other ways to try to create that market, try to use that market. And if they can find other ways, then maybe it will continue lasting for years. But as it is right now, the whole wine market is rather concerned about what's happening. So, okay, I think I'm done. Let me see if there's something else I wanted to talk about before I say I'm done, because I might. Oh, this thing's slow. All the computers I use, ones when I do my taxes for people and all that, those are slow too. Okay, come on. You don't need to do that. You don't need to reboot every time. Okay, new guest there. Guest there we need to talk about. Okay, no. I thought there's something in this thing, but I don't see it. Okay. Boy, oh wow, this is so slow. No wonder I can't. No, okay. No, I think I think that's it. Wait a minute. This is Wine Folly. I've mentioned Wine Folly quite a few times. She has a nice article on sweet and dry wines, which is really interesting. You can get Wine Folly to your email. All you need to do is just go and subscribe to winefolly.com and it'll go on there. But this that's FOLLY. She has a good article here about sugar in wines and sweet and dry. A good example: ABV, alcohol by volume wines under 11% may be off dry or sweet. Grape, some like Riesling, vary. Others, like Cabernet Sauvignon, stay dry. And labels: sec, SEC equals dry, DOUX equals sweet. So just some simple clues there. And she goes in and talks even more about dry and sweet wines. She charts the sweetness too, of the levels of sweet and dry and everything, which is interesting. A lot of people like to know, like sweet wines. If it's a good, clean, sweet wine, I enjoy it myself. So, good article though. Wine Folly. Help promote her a little bit. Not that I get anything from her. I need to get her on the show. I keep saying that, and I just haven't done it. But I need to get her on the show sometime. In fact, I want to get a barrel maker on the show. 2025 is going to be an interesting year for All About Wine. I guarantee you. So, all right. I think I'm done for the night.
Okay. Well, a lot of good information, and we'll look forward to more on the alphabet bouquet next week. I wrote that down, and we'll go from there. So, we are at just after 8 o'clock p.m. here on the East Coast. Thank you all for tuning in this week, as always, and hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to send a comment or question, or if you're in the wine industry in some capacity and would like to be on the show or have your favorite winery on the show and you want to refer them, the email address is allaboutwine101@gmail.com. Very simple to do. allaboutwine101@gmail.com. So I'd love to have you on the show, or your comments or questions, always welcome. So do that 24/7. Ron stays up 24/7 answering emails and
makes wait for an email to come in.
Yeah, just waiting. So let's light up the email there. You can't say light up the phones anymore, but yeah, just contact them. That's it for us now. We have one more show for February, and that is next week, February 27th, and we will return then at 7 p.m. Eastern Time right here on social media. And don't forget, YouTube now is youtube.com/@ All About Wine BTR. And I'll try and post that somewhere if I remember it, which I usually don't, but I'll try and post that somewhere. So,
one other thing before you go completely off the subject, but tomorrow, a lot of the baseball teams are doing their first spring training game.
Yay.
So, I mean, if the boys this summer are playing baseball, then it means it's got to warm up. I mean, even though we got 10 inches of snow around the country and minus 2 degrees, the boys this summer are playing. So that's
I don't know if they'll be playing tomorrow, because it's supposed to be like in the 40s, I think.
They're supposed to. The Tampa Rays are playing the New York Yankees at Steinbrenner Field tomorrow here in Tampa.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be.
That's a good match. Yeah.
Chilly game. Game. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right.
Well,
there you go.
Boys summer are starting. So.
Yeah, they are coming out. Have a great weekend. Be safe, and we'll talk to you all next week on the 27th of February, right here on All About Wine. Take care.
Thanks for listening. Be safe out there.
Thank you.
This concludes tonight's broadcast of All About Wine with your host, Ron. For show information, links to All About Wine on Twitter and Facebook, or to be a guest on this show, visit the show website at www.allaboutwinebtr.com. Archived shows are available for download on iTunes or on our show page at blogtalkradio.com/allaboutwine. Thank you for listening. Drink responsibly, and we'll see you next time on All About Wine.